Hello all and welcome to another Last Epoch build. My name is Bobo and today I have a Fire Dragon build for you. I got the Fire Dragon, I updated it, and now I think it's better. But again, before we get into the build, I would like to thank everyone who likes, comments and subscribes. You guys are awesome. You see guys, today is my birthday, so I wanted a build that resembles fireworks a bit. And what's better than the Fire Dragon? Throws like fireworks everywhere, it's really cool. I really like this build, it deals a lot of damage, it's very easy to scale. You're kind of squishy, but it's fine anyway, the damage makes up for it. Obviously this build increases a lot in damage the more gear you get, and it gets really strong as you progress in the game. It's a very good build to level. It's a very easy to level, like leveling it's really good because you start off with Fireball, and there's the unique helmet that gives you a bunch of fire damage, and it's very easy to level with it. This is the helmet I'm talking about, the Calamity. It pretty much, when you start off, it turns your Fireball from like 100 damage to 400 damage, so you'll be one-shotting everything at start. We have homing Fireball, and we throw 4 at once. Right now I'm throwing 5 because I have the unique staff that throws an extra Fireball, but that's gonna be replaced. It's just for leveling. But yeah, you throw a line of Fireballs, they're homing, they go look for the enemies and they just destroy them. I think this build also, the more gear and the work you put in it, the cooler it will become. The damage gets really insane, even when I just play. Right now I have 20k, if I throw in Meteor and my Arcane thingy it goes to 45. It doubles when you use the buffs. So it instantly melts bosses, this build. And that's it. Let's get into the build. For this build we're running Fireball, FlameWard, Teleport, Meteor, and Arcane Ascendance, also known as Arcane Thingy. For the Fireball, first we go 3 points in Winged Fire for speed and range and some damage. Then we take Fire Spray for 2 extra projectiles. The plus 6 mana is pretty much negligible. We will have so much mana regeneration we don't even feel the mana going. And then we go for Ember, so it fires in line, but it reduces our projectile by half. So we're at 1, 2, 3, and then back to 2. Then we take 2 points in Dancing Fire, it adds projectiles, so this one adds 2 projectiles and it's not reduced by half, so we're at 4. Having 4 projectiles, we want them to be homing, so we go for Seeker's Ash. Obviously we go through the cast speed and not through the ignite chance. Then we get Flame Burst, so when we hit the enemy with 5 consecutive fireballs, a burst of flame will happen. Essentially we'll have another fireball hitting once we hit with 5 fireballs. And we reduce the number to 4, sorry. So when we do the full combo, and by full combo I mean when we shoot the fireball, 4 will shoot, it will hit the same enemy and it will create a flame burst. Then we want them to be piercing, so they can pass through and kill the trash. And with the piercing fireball we just need 50% here, because there's a shard on the helmet that gives us more piercing, so we get the other 50% from there. We want to have 1 point in Orb of Destruction for some base crit, and this is really important, the Plasma Ball. We want the Fireball to have the Lightning tag, because having the Lightning tag is what enables the Dragon Mage to work. And then the points we have left, at 1 point we have left, I went in Skira's Gambit, which gives us more base crit but reduces cast speed. You could also go for more piercing And if you get plus to Fireball, it's really good because Fireball has a lot of good stuff. You can go for more projectile, but this only adds one. You can, I would suggest going for base crit. If you don't want to sacrifice the cast speed, just go for the other base crit. Also, the crit multiplier and lightning damage is really good. So there are a lot of good points you can put in Fireball. It's really good if you get the plus to Fireball abilities. We went for FlameWard. FlameWard is our damagey tanky thing. We took more duration, more mana travel, 5 points in increased fire damage, and 5 points in plus fire damage. And the other half we went for defense. I took a little bit of ward, granted, not that I care about this, it's for travel, and then less hit damage. 40% less hit damage is really good. And then we take less elemental damage by 20% also. So an elemental hits us for like 40% of its actual damage, so it's minus 60 in total. Teleport. I took the mages, the little ones, to tank for me, and I also took the Nova just to clear trash a little bit. We don't really need this because we're not leveling Nova. You can just go for something else if you want, but the important thing is that you get the increased elemental damage by 50% and you get the mages for tankiness. And then we went for Meteor. Meteor you wanted mainly for Craterborn. This increases once we cast Meteor, we have 4 seconds with increased attack speed and increased fire damage. So we have 20 cast speed, 150% fire, increased fire damage. And then we get ward and mana when we're hitting with Fireball. Again, we don't really need the mana because we have a lot of mana regen, but the ward is nice. It's only 18. It's not gonna be a huge difference because I think that one cast it doesn't count the number of fireballs we're shooting. It just cuts it only counts the cast. So if you shoot 5 fireballs, 6 fireballs, it doesn't make a difference to it. It only counts one cast. Then I went for the portion of mana back. We get mana back when we use the Meteor because, well, we can. If you cast it a couple of times by mistake, your mana will be instantly drained because Meteor uses a lot of mana. And then I just put points randomly. You just got some base crit, we got some crit multiplier, we got some damage and damage to enemies at full health. But the only important thing is the Craterborn here. You can spec Meteor however you like. Then I went for Arcane Ascendance. Arcane Ascendance gives us increased spell damage by 75%. And I took the Acuity, I think it's called. Anyway, it no longer drains mana and it only affects 4 spells. But that 4 spells is for casts. So we have 4 times 4 is for 8, 12, 16 fireballs and 4 procs of Fire Blast. So it's gonna deal a lot of damage and it's only a 2-second cooldown. By the time you reposition, it's active again and it costs way less mana with this one. I think this is really good. The rest of the points, I took 5 points in ward gain on start, and I took some chance to slow enemies. I gave them some knockback, and I gave it some increased spell damage per second. This doesn't really affect it much, because as soon as you cast it, you're gonna be spamming fireballs. It will be done in like 5 seconds. So yeah, you can pretty much play with this as however you want. The important thing is the higher plane and the acuity. Yeah, for talents, we went pretty much the standard mage when you're going caster. So you go for intellect 8 points, 2 points in health and mana, 5 points in attack speed, and 5 points in crit. You can come back and get this to a 10 pointer, but as always, we want to spend the least amount of points possible for to be able to get to the second part of the tree, which is the strongest part of the tree. Anyway, in Sorcerer, we went for crit, attack speed, intelligence and mana. We went 1 point in fire damage and fire skill ignite chance. It's not bad, but there are better points out there. Fire penetration, fire leech, we get some life back. We get some crit here. This is doubled for lightning skills, And since our fireball has the lightning tag from plasma ball gives the fireball the lightning tag. So it's doubled. The this effect is doubled for a lightning spell. For lightning skills, our fireball is a lightning skill. It goes to 160% rather than 80. Crit multiplier, we went for Arcane Insight, so Intellect, Insight chance on hit. I went for 5 adaptive spell damage and the increased mana regen. This is really great. Adaptive spell damage is always really good. You should go for it every time you can. Adaptive spell damage value tripled if you have over 200 mana. Make sure you have over 200 mana because the value is tripled. We go from 5 to 15. That's 10 more adaptive spell damage. It's really, really good. And then we go for the Dragon Mage here. The Dragon Mage, it increases fire damage from cold skill used. Now we take that sentence and we rotate it because we're using Mirror Breath. Mirror Breath cycles the effect of Dragon Mage and Dragon Breath. Long story short, it changes the last name, so for the last element. So where there's fire, it goes to cold. Where there's cold, it goes to fire, I think. And where there's lightning, anyway, it rotates. So our increased fire damage from cold skills used turns into increased fire damage from lightning skill used. Now Fireball is a lightning skill as well as a fire skill. So when we're casting Fireball, it will proc the increased fire damage from a lightning skill and it will buff itself. So basically, because we're casting Fireball, our Fireball is dealing 100% extra fire damage. And that's what makes this build a Dragon Mage, because it uses this ability here. And that's the build. It deals really high damage, it's really good, and I'm gonna leave you with a couple of kills. So enjoy and see you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Survive my storms! Your blood will drop in my ocean. Is that the best you can do? You're starting to bore me.